A North Korean soldier was standing guard at the border when he suddenly dropped his rifle and sprinted toward the south. His fellow soldiers opened fire behind him. Bullets flew past his body. He didn't stop. He ran 55 meters before collapsing on the South Korean side. He had been shot twice, but he survived. Later, he appeared on South Korean television and became a celebrity. But you need to understand something. He is the only person in the past 20 years to have successfully escaped through this route. Why? Because North Korea is not a place you can simply walk away from. It was designed to be a prison, an entire country of 24 million people locked inside. Fewer than 30,000 have escaped, a success rate of just 0.1%. Route 1, the Korean Demilitarized Zone. The famous border, commonly known as the 38th parallel. It stretches 238 kilometers and is 4 kilometers wide. More than 1 million soldiers are stationed on both sides. Landmines, electric fences, barbed wire, cameras, sensors. To cross this zone, your body could be blown apart by a mine, torn through by bullets, or electrocuted. If you're lucky enough to survive, you'll end up in an interrogation room telling the South Koreans who you are, and then you'll live. If you're not lucky, your family will receive a notice. Your son attempted to defect and has been shot dead. They may then be sent to a labor camp because you committed a crime for which your entire family is punished. So when you see that soldier, Oh Chong-song, sprint 55 meters into South Korea, understand that he was gambling not only with his own life, but with the lives of his entire family. Route 2, by sea. To the east of North Korea lies the Sea of Japan. To the west lies the Yellow Sea. First, you need a boat, but you can't afford one. The average annual income in North Korea is just $650. A decent boat costs tens of thousands. So you either steal one, borrow one, or swim. In 2016, a North Korean intelligence agent named Lee Chol-hyon chose to swim. He worked for North Korea's intelligence service and belonged to the country's elite, but he had had enough. In 2007, he came across rice donated by the South Korean Red Cross. It was the first time he realized that South Koreans weren't evil. Then he waited 9 years. In September 2016, he and a friend jumped into the Yellow Sea carrying a deflated air mattress, a bag of food, and a bottle of water. They swam 6 kilometers. Along the way, they abandoned their food, then their shoes, then their pants. They reached a small South Korean island, wrapped themselves in garbage bags, and slept. The next day, they built a raft from driftwood and foam they found on the island, then continued onward. 8 hours later, South Korean thermal imaging equipment detected them. They survived. But do you know how many North Koreans have attempted this route over the past 20 years? No one has kept count, because they count the people who succeed, not the people who fail. Those who failed are lying at the bottom of the sea, or they were pulled from the water by the North Korean Coast Guard and sent straight to a prison camp. Route 3, China. The border is 1,350 kilometers long, most of it formed by the Tumen and Yalu rivers. In winter, the rivers freeze over. You can simply walk across. The problem is, China will send you back. China and North Korea have a repatriation agreement. If you enter China and are discovered, you will be returned to North Korea. And once you are sent back, you disappear, so you have to hide. You hide in the Yanbian Korean Autonomous Prefecture, home to more than 1 million ethnic Koreans who look just like you. There, you can find food, you can find work, you can save money, then you continue south, to Shenyang, to Beijing, and eventually to Southeast Asia. This is the longest route. A North Korean girl named Yeonmi Park spent 2 years traveling it with her mother. They crossed Mongolia's Gobi Desert in temperatures of minus 30 degrees Celsius. They had no tent. She survived. Today, she is a human rights speaker who has addressed the United Nations. But her aunt didn't go with them. She was sick. She couldn't make the journey. Yeonmi Park never heard from her again. Route 4, Russia. The border is only 17 kilometers long, entirely along the Tumen River. In winter, it freezes. You walk across. Then, in the minus 30-degree cold of Siberia, you must travel 300 kilometers on foot to reach the South Korean consulate in Vladivostok. If you don't freeze to death, and if the Russian police don't catch you, you've made it. But do you know how many people have successfully completed this route over the past 20 years? Fewer than 10. Route 5, Southeast Asia. This is the most expensive route. You have to pay a broker between $10,000 and $25,000 $5,000. Then you sneak into China, take a bus to Kunming, cross the jungles of Laos or Myanmar, and finally reach Thailand. Thailand has a United Nations refugee agency that can help send you to South Korea. But along the way, you may encounter venomous snakes, malaria, warlords, and human traffickers. In 2017, a North Korean railway worker named Park Hyan-woo attempted this route with his father. Chinese police spotted them at a gas station. The father and son ran in different directions. The son hid in a mountainside cemetery. For a week, he survived by eating food left as offerings for the dead. His father was captured and imprisoned for a year and a half. By the time his father was released, the son had already reached South Korea. So the father traveled the entire route again. This time, he succeeded. You think escaping means you're finally safe? Wrong. A North Korean defector named Yoon Gaeon-suk made it to South Korea, got married, and traveled to China for her honeymoon. Near the Chinese-North Korean border, she was kidnapped. Her abductors sent her back to North Korea, where she was imprisoned in a concentration camp. 6 months later, she died. Her husband never saw her again. Her story became the most terrifying warning among North Korean defectors. North Korea will never let you go. So now, tell me, if you had been born in North Korea, do you think you could escape? Which route would you choose? Tell me in the comments.